All right, guys. Looking good. Pretty big crowd here today. Thanks for coming to the panel. Just give everyone one more minute here to kind of get settled in, find their seats, all that. Looks like just about everyone's here. You guys in the back can hear me good? Cool. Getting some thumbs up. Sounds good. All right. So yeah, no, I'm just as surprised as any of you guys to be here. Very excited. This is my first panel at a LEGO convention, so I think this is a big opportunity. Let's hope it goes well. All right, so everyone looks like they're here. Let's do it. So, AFOLs don't deserve a castle theme. I was wrong to think otherwise. Now I know a lot of you are going to be like, what's going on here? You're here to be angry with me, maybe even. Before you do that, just please save all your questions for the comment section. We'll get to all that. We've got plenty of time for all that. So, AFOLs. First of all, let's get in here real quick. Show of hands. Who knows what an AFOL is? AFOL. Yeah, it looks like most of you. There's a couple, so we'll just breeze through it. So that's an adult fan of LEGO. And these specific ones, I put it in quotes, and then I put the S on it, which made it confusing because it kind of looks like the fans own don't. So, anyways, so it's these are adults specifically that seem to act more childish. There's a subset that I think do not deserve castle themes. If you're familiar with me, we have some ancient fans of LEGO on my YouTube channel, and I think let's not confuse those two. These are adult fans that are specifically acting like children with some really bad arguments why they think that they deserve a castle theme. So let's go ahead. Chapter 1 is legacy. So what do I mean by legacy? Well, LEGO has a big history of castles. Just in general, it started in the late 70s, so we're up to 40-ish years, not quite 50 yet, but we've had a lot of castles, a lot of them. BRICKLINK lists over 300 sets under castle, and over 500 minifigures. Now, I believe BRICKLINK does distinguish the Vikings and Nexo-Knights as different themes, so they're not even considered there. But the 300 does include advent calendars and such. Each of the 24 days counts as a separate set to the inventory. So keep those numbers, with a grain of salt, but that's fine. We've had over 7 years since the last castle. I hear a lot of people saying, it's been too long since we've had a castle theme. This theme needs a reboot. That theme needs a reboot because of X years. 7 years here in 2020. And yeah, they're not wrong. 2013 had 5 sets, so I would barely consider that a theme. It was kind of like a micro theme, which is a weird treatment for a big... I think a lot of people think of castle when they think of LEGO, so it's weird that a big name would be getting such a treatment. But there's the castle from 2013, King's Castle. Now, 2017, of course, we had Nexo-Knights. We had the can't remember the name of that one, but it's the royal castle. Knightington Castle or something? Anyways, 2017. Geez, look at me with this good stage fright, am I right? But 2019, we've got Lowenstein Castle. Now, that one is a little bit special because it is it's the adult creator program from BRICKLINK collaboration. So the set has a lot of limitations and had a very limited release, so just keep those in mind. I'd say that one, it's a good thing. It's definitely big and detailed, and it's a castle theme just as recently as last year. Well, not theme, set, I guess. We'll talk about that more. 2015 to 2018, though, we did have elves, which means it got more than the minimum 3 that a theme gets. Themes are typically based around 3 waves, so we got more than that. This one here is the Goblin King's Fortress. We have the Shadow Tower. We also have the Season 1 Sky Fortress with the portal back to the human world, and then this one, Regana's Dark Fortress here. Now, all of those I'd say count as a castle and are definitely a fantasy-themed setting. Yes, the colors are bright. No, it's not a minifigure theme, but I think that these definitely count, and that's kind of going to start propelling us into the main thing here, is that we have a lot of good things from LEGO if you just want to kind of pay attention to those and not the fact that we don't have a castle theme. So next up is denial. And by that, I mean denying certain themes as castle or denying that LEGO is paying attention to us. So the first part of denying is latching onto anything. There's a lot of things that get latched onto. Here are 3 examples that are fairly recent and in my mind. Alatok, and that one got a huge got a whole fake leak. And it was going to be a big castle theme with 3 different factions and the whole thing and a grand story and maybe even a cartoon. Completely debunked by Legoland Mythica. It used the C in Mythica for Alatok Castle, and then it was like, this is a thing tweeted out by Legoland, it must be real. But Legoland Mythica is a land. It's a land that's coming to Windsor, I believe, from what I understand. But Legolands aren't known for getting themes or even really integrating with themes correctly, timely. Let's say timely. That's a good way to put it. So Legolands have a castle theme, from what I understand. They've got a castle area, a pirate area. They've usually got a kind of a city area and some Technic and Duplo and Friends, all types of things. But they don't get Legoland sets based on those areas. Now, the one that is the exception is the Lego Ninjago ride set. That's a Legoland exclusive set based on their Legoland Ninjago ride. But it's not a theme. It's a one-off set, and like even the castle area doesn't have castle sets in it most of the time. It has Harry Potter or Disney princesses. The Pirates area has Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. If it's got that, it's just whatever they can kind of match up kind of makes it into those Legoland areas. So Mythica, I think, won't be any different. It's not going to be a whole theme. We've talked plenty about that before. But then any leaked set list, I've seen several different set lists this year. Starting in January or so, there's a big castle coming. There's a big castle coming. And it just got fake numbers that get used by another set eventually, and then people are like, oh, well, I guess they got the wrong number. But they just latch onto them and then reject the fact that there's no proof of these things. The leakers are bad leakers, or there's no catalog pictures or something. Something, at least if you're going to leak something, give us some proof, right? Now, the second part is reject anything. So, how many times have you heard something that's a variation on one of these 3 things? Nexonites isn't castle. Now, Nexonites definitely has a space vibe to it too, but there were a lot of people that are on the opposite end of this that are like, we need a space theme from LEGO. It's classic space. Please bring it back. Look at the LEGO Movie Space set. It did so well, blah, blah, blah. I'd argue that LEGO Space got so much love from LEGO Movie 1 and 2 that classic space is kind of, done for a little while in their mind. They don't need that. But Nexonites was definitely a castle theme. The 2016 promotional set, was it a Ballista, right? Getting some nods. It's got a little booklet in the front, and it says castle. It says that it's a castle theme. So elves. Elves is for girls. We already touched on this one. But elves has got all these colors. It's got mini dolls. It's definitely not a castle theme, but you've got an army. Just take your minifigures, put them in the castle. Pretty easy. Harry Potter and Disney princesses took the castle slot. Have you guys heard this? The idea of slots. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't believe this. I believe that there's a validity to this one. But Harry Potter and Disney princesses, or anything Star Wars taking the castle, or the space slot, the space slot, I don't think that that's necessarily the most truthful thing, but it's a good argument. There's certainly been space themes running against Star Wars, and there's been castle themes running since Harry Potter, so it's, how do you say that they took a slot when slots aren't exactly one-to-one? You could make the argument, like I said, is there's there's something fishy there, but we can't really prove much of that. But Castle, if they thought Castle was going to be profitable and good, we'd have it, right? So facts don't mean anything, and this is kind of where we're getting into a lot of argument starting points. These are where a lot of arguments stop. So if you go on Reddit right now, I always hear people say Reddit's got a big Lego community, big Lego community, great Lego community, all kinds of posts from classic sets and new things and mocks, and look at what this 10-year-old built. Very cool. Top posts on Reddit include more Star Wars and Harry Potter than Castle. There's not that much of a demand for Castle because it's just not there. If Reddit had Castle sets popping up all the time, people posting boxes of their Castle sets, look at what I just got, and it was getting as many upvotes as look at this Millennium Falcon I just bought, people would notice, Lego would notice, we would deserve it, quote unquote. It would be a thing. Nexonites didn't sell, and Castle 2013 didn't sell. Nexonites definitely got a weird third wave with very few sets in it, and Castle 2013 got battle packs afterwards, 2014 battle packs to match it. So, like, you can't say that those were going so well because they would have continued them, right? They would have canceled them. They would have finished out a story. They would have continued to make sets until they're not popular. Look at the Ninjago or City. The sets sell. The people buy them. More sets get made. It's pretty easy. This last one here, a little under 5% of the Lego sales come from adults who buy bricks for themselves, according to a 2010 issue of The Brick. Now, that was from Lego directly, and you can look that fact up. I can't find a more recent one, but I do have reasons to assume that it is around 10%. It's less than 10% from what I hear in 2020. It's a little less than 10%, which I think 10 years' time, doubling to 10%, 5 more percent, feels right to me. Feels good, right? Like, I think we can all kind of agree on that. I got that secondhand. Supposedly that information is from Kevin Hinkle, and we all trust him, and I trust the guy that told me he said that. So take that information as you will. If you can find numbers on that, do let me know. I would be super interested to hear. But basically, not even every adult fan of Lego, adult buying sets for themselves, is into Castle. I'd say a small subset, so 10% of 10%, 1% of people buying Lego sets. It's just not there. The market's not there for Castle sets. But I do have a couple slides here, and these kind of are interesting, and we can touch a little bit more on some BRICKLINK stuff a little bit later. But 2013, here we have Forest Ambush. This was the small set from that year, the 2013 year. But we're looking at the bottom here, the last 6 month sales and the current items for sale. Now, the current item for sale, if there were a lot of items for sale, that would mean that there's a lot of people with the set that can't sell it. So we're looking for kind of a low number in that. And then for the last 6 months of sales, we're looking for a higher number, I think. You can extrapolate this however you want. But the higher number of sales means that people definitely want it. And the lower number of items for sale is good for telling us how much of a, like, supply there is. Because if all of the sets were sold off the market, maybe that would be a bigger indication to Lego that we need more Castle to fill the void, right? The only thing is that I should have excluded the incomplete sets in this information, but it's included in all of them, so that's take it or leave it, you know. So yeah, here's the small, and then I'll do a medium and a large for this set. So this is the medium, it's the Gatehouse Raid, a very fine set. There's not a lot of sales, that's a pretty low number I'd say, and there's not a lot for sale. So maybe the low number of sales is contributing to the sales, the low sales, it's hard to say. The big one is, of course, King's Castle, we talked about that earlier. But there's a fairly low amount, I'd say, for sale, and a slightly higher amount did sell in the last 6 months. So that's interesting, right? So to compare that to, I did pick some 2013 Star Wars sets to compare it to, a kind of a middle, small, middle, large. It's a little bit harder to do, but a lot of them bought in the last 6 months, and then currently for sale, there's a lot used. This is where that excluding complete may have come in, because there's some desirable figures and stuff. But anyways, let's move on to a bigger set here. This is Hoth. Very few bought, I'd say, and then a fair amount for sale. And then Jabba's sail barges. Again, this is bigger than the Knight's Castle, the King's Castle, but a lot of them sold, actually, and then a lot for sale. So you kind of have to extrapolate your own facts from that, but I think that that's an interesting thing to kind of bring up with all of this, and didn't have a better place to put it than here. So Chapter 3, moving on. So this is kind of where we're going to talk about what we can do as a community and what the research brought me to. So, current trends. We're living in a great year for pirate fans. If you're a pirate fan, you're doing great, and I'm very happy for them. I think they're doing, they got a lot of really good stuff. We got a Creator 3-in-1 pirate, we got a CMF pirate, and we got Pirates of Barracuda Bay, right? So I will say is that Pirates of Barracuda Bay, I think a lot of people are like, well, I want a castle set in that vein, and fair, that's good. But I think, unfortunately, Castle Lowenstein did kind of fill that void as far as Lego's concerned. It's hard to say, but it's a big set, fan voted set, old theme. The castle is a little bit more limited, a lot more limited, I'd argue, I guess, but still kind of feels the same to me in a certain way. And I did have someone bring that up as I was doing research for this, that they're definitely not the same. And they're right, 100%. They're right. They're not the same, but it's weird to it's just there's a lot of similarities that I feel like I should mention them. Lego City Main Square, that's the 60271 playset. It does have a Forestman statue. Now here's a fun one. It is a current 2020 set, and it's got a brand new color for the Forestman hat. Now it isn't the original Forestman hat. It is the 2009 remake of that hat, but it's in gray for the first time, and the figure is just flat gray, no printing. And they are handcuffed, which is kind of a weird thing for a statue to be. But anyways, so obviously they know that they've got the molds. They're still producing parts with them. Nexonites had that hat as well a couple times. So there's definitely there's a flow of parts. And to go along with that, the CMFs are constantly giving us castle or castle-related figures. So what do I mean by that? Well, we actually have a whole slide dedicated to that. So these are some notes about the CMFs. All of these pictures are from recent years, I'd say. And you can argue what's recent and what's not. But 2020's Series 20 is the Tournament Knight and Viking. We got these two very usable guys. A lot of people are very excited about the Tournament Knight because of the color scheme and the new coat of arms that he has. And I'd argue that Viking does belong with the castle line. Sure, it's not as traditional as a medieval European castle, but I think it's just as important as ninjas or, like I said, Vikings. And I think those are all subsets of castle, personally. That's just me. We did get the Fright Knight, which is this ghost boy, and we got him in the Series 19. Series 17 had Dwarf. Series 16 had this Rogue, and Series 15 did have the Frightening Knight, the green one. I believe he has a bear on his shield, and he comes with a mace, and the Queen. And that's not including any of the Harry Potter or Disney or any of the licensed themes that you can get parts from them that are definitely suitable for your castle, fantasy, D&D, sword and sorcery settings. These are just the unmistakably, no argument, you can't say that these don't exist. And yeah, you might not like the ghost direction that castle went in the late 80s, 90s, whatever it was, but it's still there, and the fantasy dwarves showing up later as well. But they're all figures that definitely match very closely to castle proper. So, where are we? Where do we go? So first up, I don't think LEGO has forgotten us. I think that's an important thing to keep in perspective here. We don't deserve a castle theme because LEGO doesn't think that we don't. We're getting castle themes. They just can't justify giving us a full, 3-wave, 7 sets of wave plus polybags. They're doing the best they can for us. Next up is we have plenty of parts on the second-hand market, and again, that goes along with the BRICKLINK stuff. Check BRICKLINK currently. for the trending sets and figures. The trending parts is harder to say castle or not definitively, but you might have a couple, 1 or 2 castle figures in there, but it's mostly going to be Star Wars, lots of Harry Potters, lots of licensed things, a couple city people maybe, and same thing with the sets. And then last up, we do have Lego World Builder, and I think this is an important one. Lego World Builder is a thing to kind of bypass Lego ideas. It's a platform where you build a story around a theme, and then if Lego likes the theme enough, if there's enough demand for it, they might make it. So I think that's a very important one that a lot of people are kind of sleeping on, is that you've got 5 friends, you got 10 friends, whatever it is, that are always saying, man, I wish we had a castle theme. You could go ahead and just all jump in here. Let's make a castle theme together. And Lego World Builder, do it. If it gets enough traffic, if you guys are posting every couple days, it'll be popular. Hopefully some other people join in and like it. And before you know it, you could have yourself a castle theme without the 10,000 votes, just a grassroots effort of a dozen people. So I think that's a very important thing to remember, that we have access to, and we may have a castle theme waiting for us there. So that's kind of the end of it. AFOLs don't deserve a castle theme. I was wrong to think otherwise, because we have one, and the castle theme is the Lego sets we build along the way, really. I know it's kind of a letdown in the answer, and there wasn't a definitive reason why we don't deserve one, I suppose, but I think that it's kind of a fun end to it. I definitely want a castle theme. I want to be able to, build a big army of undead and have my minifigures defend the kingdom from the evil. I think that would be fun. That's definitely a thing that I think children would like to build, so why not? But until then, we have all the pieces we need, and we have each other. My name is Pro Lego Channel, and thank you for coming to my panel. Like I said before, we'll be taking questions in an orderly fashion. Go ahead and line up in the comments, and we'll get through those. We got lots of time left here, and I think you guys are going to definitely have some good talking points to share with everyone. So thank you very much, and thanks to the venue. This was a beautiful venue. I can't believe that that I got to be here presenting. It's kind of wild, isn't it? So yeah, I'm going to open the floor to you guys now.